Good morning and welcome back to Fresh Brew Marketing's YouTube channel. In today's In Conversation With, I'm talking with Dan Pritchard from Astley Media, and we're going to be discussing a little bit more about marketing and PR and why it's so critically important for businesses to keep their conversation going even during these really uncertain times. So stay tuned, it's coming up right now. Hi Dan, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi Katie, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. So listen, let's just get started. So tell me a little bit more about Astley Media and certainly what you guys have been doing during this period. Give us a bit of a background as to the types of services that you do.
So we're a PR marketing agency, a group of creatives doing our thing, and based in Exeter, mostly with brands in the southwest, a few outside that, and it's been a really interesting period, a very difficult period in many respects for a lot of brands, but actually, we've been kind of working more than ever. The first few weeks were manic. It was around crisis comms and just helping companies either sort of just help them in their comms to their kind of core customers, really focusing on their existing customers, that kind of thing, and their staff. So that was kind of, March was flat out around that, and then it evolved in April in terms of different companies, different sectors, more variation. Some were very busy. We've got a tech company that was really flat out, and part of their offering is around supporting people in terms of remote working. So obviously they were super busy, and we've been working with them in terms of their brand and their marketing. Others, tourism, public transport, just at kind of the bottom of falling out of their market. So for that, big change and big comms kind of considerations, and some work has gone quiet. But I think what's been really interesting, what's heartening is, as we're all seeing on our conversations, whether it's family, friends, our use of Zoom, all of this, the grandparents and everything, communications is fundamental to how we exist as humans, in society, and that at the heart of everything, we're using different tools and there's some struggles, but what makes us human, part of that is the connection, isn't it? And that, yep, it's been really kind of uplifting for me into seeing that and how we've engaged as a sort of, and connected as a society overall within communities, that's business community, your neighborhood, reaching out to friends and family. Wow, communications matters, doesn't it?
I mean, we were just talking just before this a little bit, and it kind of brings me on to this particular question. So the debate has been ongoing, and I think now we're starting to see a shift in that conversation, where in the beginning, companies were kind of going into, all right, lockdown, self-preservation, let's stop spend, let's look at what we've got. Many people literally shut up shop, to kind of keep the budgets under control. But in your opinion, how important has it been for marketing and communication to keep going, throughout this period, and how important, especially now as we start to see that change, given the recent announcement where businesses are starting to open up again and things are starting to get back to operation?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really good, it's a really good question. And it's the fundamental challenge, isn't it, of our times, in terms of, this return to whatever it looks like, this new normality, this new normal. And I think it's really important, in terms of communicating. If you fall silent, people make assumptions. You see it from the government in terms of how we get the health messages across. People want information, they want it, and they want clarity. And it's the same with brands. Brands, we trust brands, we have relationships with brands, and but I think what this period has really hammered home to me is, one is, great marketing has always been about solving problems. Solve, don't sell. And if you solve a problem for someone, that's how you kind of build relationships, engage, and do good business. And right now, that is what we need, in terms of solving problems, whether it's a tech problem, a health problem, a supply chain problem, a kind of give me a bit of fun and something in my life that I can laugh about, problem, or, that's the kind of solutions that the great brands have always kind of delivered. So I think it hasn't changed, but it's reinforced that, the solve, don't sell. And that going forwards, because if you come across as too salesy as a brand, people are going to they're not interested. Their priorities right now are different. And some of those priorities perhaps have changed fundamentally for a long period, maybe even forever. And I think the other bit of it, in terms of solve, don't sell, but thinking about your message and how you communicate right now, because people, your audience may be different. Your audience will be going through different things. People are experiencing this. It's universal, but it's also very individual in how we're coping and feeling about it, and worried about friends and family and vulnerable people we know, and our own concerns. So as a brand, you've got to be really nuanced about that, really understand what has changed to your audience, treat people as individuals, because there's a lot of variety and stresses and changes in our situation that have happened. So, you know, good brands have got to get that.
Yeah, and I think you know, it kind of reminds me of something where you know, even just looking at my own personal networks, you see a lot of desperation almost in people saying, okay, I've got to do something, I have to do something. So the natural reaction is almost out of panic to try and sell, to drum up some sort of business to sustain. Or
so sorry, there goes my phone.
That's okay, it's alive.
I'm glad it's when you said trying to drum up some business, you know, so maybe that's a potential.
And that was all on key, on point. No, but I was just saying, you know, the natural reaction is to try and develop a business and to sell, to sustain. But the trouble is that you do come across as desperate, and actually it turns someone off. So personal experience, for example, this week, I've probably had 4 people connect with me where the initial lead-in is one of collaboration, one to get to know, and hey, maybe we can work together. And immediately, as soon as I've connected, it's been a sell. And that's immediately made me go, no, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to know about you. And I think, you know, that's where a good communications plan or a good strategy comes into play, where you can say, do you know what, I've planned for this. I've structured it. I've changed it according to where we want to go, because you know our future direction is different to what it was 3 months ago now, and I can relax and have faith that my plan is going to work. I need to just stick to that, you know. And I can see so many people are coming, like this wave of communication that's just erupted out of nowhere, you know.
And too many people, you know, follow the pack or make assumptions. And actually, you know, how many of us stop and ask our clients, ask our customers, what do they need right now? What do they think they're going to need in the coming weeks and months? You know, that's a really obvious thing to do, because don't assume that everyone wants, you know, X, Y, or Z. You know, actually ask people. So I think that's a really important part of it. And the other bit is don't rush, you know, because, you know, I was saying this to people and in some sort of master classes we were running early on, you know, it's like, we can see all this stuff on social media and everyone's pivoting to this, or everyone's saying on webinars on that. And it's like, but, you know, this is going to go on for a long, long time. You know, this is not something just going to be a return to normal. We see it in terms of it's going to be a phased approach. It's going to be slow. It's going to be gentle. So, you know, ask, find out what people need. Can your brand solve part of that, you know, that problem? You know, and take your time, because there's different phases around this. You don't all have to pile in. We don't all have to pile in at the start. And that could be the wrong thing for some brands. You know, taking stock, doing your research, listening, work out the value you provide in this, you know, this world that we're in now, and you know, which audience you're going to kind of serve best. You know, there's lots of different ways brands can help different people, whether it's your own people, the families of your staff, your existing customers, potential customers. You know, I like to say that plan to map that out is really important, isn't it? Because otherwise you just think, we better do this because everyone else is doing this, and you know, that's not true to your brand.
Just add to the noise in the end, and you get lost in the noise. You know, you lose that.
Absolutely.
So it's good. It brings me onto another question I wanted to ask you, which was, you work with so many different businesses on strategy development and communication.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you help them plan their strategy, and then you help them deliver that and transmit that message, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. What are some of the trends that you're seeing in the way that businesses approach marketing as they move forward? You know, how are people changing? How are businesses changing? Firstly, to get themselves out of lockdown, and then secondly, more for the long term.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the comms is carried on. It's just, there's been a lot of changes, and some are focused into the internal comms. You know, if there's companies who have furloughed many of their staff, so a lot of that is, you know, it's kind of, and that's, you know, that is the most important bit in terms of, you know, staying strong, connecting as teams and organisations. So that's certainly happened, and hope some of the good practice around that will remain in terms of within organisations, because they've been forced to think about how they communicate, how they create kind of cohesion into the dispersed workforces. So you hope some of those things going forwards will be embedded. You know, internal comms has suffered, I think, over the years in terms of, sometimes it kind of, you know, the teams get shrunk down, in-house teams, that kind of thing, and not enough emphasis is put on it. But, you know, those people are the most important people. They are your brand ambassadors. Without your people, you are nothing. So I hope that realignment stays true. And I think in terms of, you know, this sort of phase, immediate and then longer term, you know, immediate, there has been a lot of firefighting, I guess. We've gone through that phase now, haven't we? And people are sort of taking stock and making strategic decisions. Certainly the clients we're working with, you know, they're sort of starting to build for the longer term. But it's not about going back. It's not about going back to what it was like before, because one thing is, imagine what Christmas is going to be like this year. What kind of Christmas are we going to have as individuals, as families, as groups of friends? That's going to be amazing. No matter what, it's going to be an emotional time. And if brands are starting to think about that now, in terms of where can they do good, where can they solve, what are the opportunities in the right way? It's quite hard to even think about something like Christmas right now. But if you can get into that strategic mindset, and start planning for that, that could be very emotional and powerful, and connections can be made with consumers, with your customers in new ways. And I think the other bit of that is if you're doing good things now, that's going to stand you in good stead. People will remember that. Like you were saying about joining groups, collaborating. I'm part of Stronger Together, which is a kind of extra group. We're just looking at the kind of the strategy around coming out of lockdown and how we can help businesses, how we can encourage people to think about buying local, those kind of things. And that's been a fun project to be involved with, just giving our support for nothing. But through that, new relationships are forming, and it's just the right thing to do for us as a brand. And I think that bit into that longer term strategy, doing the right things now that are true to your values, will stand you in good stead. But there comes a time when you need to kind of step back and assess, okay, what's changed with our audience? What's changed with our offering? This great digital shove that we've all had, how far have we taken it? What stays? Can we go even further? Because that has built, the true resilience around technology and digital has been amazing. And what does that build into the plan? Except that there's got to be flexibility. There's things you can't control, but you've got to have that plan, haven't you? Because you need that roadmap.
And also, how do we continue to build connections? So we've always, as marketing people, we've always said people need to connect with what they're buying, with the brand, who they're listening to. That connection has got to be there. But I think what this period certainly has taught me is, so much stuff and fluff and noise has become irrelevant. And what's really become important is that connection. As you say, family and friends not being able to connect with the people we usually connect to. So we naturally turn to any digital means to be able to do that. And so we've kind of had to learn the hard way that as brands, we need to be nurturing those connections. And it needs to be fundamental in our strategy as we move forward, because it will always be there. And I think if we've done all the hard work now and we continue to do the hard work, that will resonate with your clients and your customers in the long run, I'm sure.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if you think about brands who have whether they sit on that kind of digital spectrum from they were non-digital and just had a website and a few other things, it might be an individual independent shop through to very digital savvy. Everyone's been shunted that way. And I think the challenge now for brands, think about their marketing and their customer experiences, how seamless can you make it? The digital and the non-digital, whatever it is, it's got to be a seamless customer experience from you as a brand. And that's going to be the great challenge now, I think, in terms of we're more savvy. We can use Zoom, we can use Teams, that's just a baseline, in terms of, all the other apps and productivity tools and our expectations. The 9 to 5 has broken down. So what does that mean for businesses? And the clever ones will be thinking about how their audience has changed. We have all these digital tools. How do we kind of build that into our offering, mobile, laptop, iPad, but also the offline bit, because people are going to want to connect as face to face as humans, and there's lots of question marks around that. But that is you can see the yearning for sport, the yearning to get out, that bit of it. So how do brands get their heads around that and sort of evolve their offerings to kind of reflect what we need as humans in these coming months and years, and trying to make it seamless? That's big. That's a big thing to do, but it starts with asking your purpose, real fundamental things that we kind of, you will work with your clients on, I work with mine, and says the purpose, the values, what is the offering, who you're trying to connect with. So how do we do that in a collaborative kind of way?
Yeah, and in this, I want to talk about that digital shift for a second. So in 2015, Astley Media launched Tech Southwest, an initiative which showcases tech companies across the region and the abundance of innovation and development that takes place, in our own neighborhoods. So a lot of this was based on physically building relationships with businesses to become stronger, and a more influential unit as a whole, in the Southwest where tech is concerned. And so how has this lockdown been, or how has the lockdown affected a lot of what you're doing in Tech Southwest, especially when it comes to the regular events you're holding and the awards and all those kind of things that you're doing?
Yeah, so I think Tech Southwest got over 2,000 members now, and it's a brilliant organisation in the sense of, it's a collaborative. It's run by a steering group. Every tech cluster across the region is involved, and we were having a conversation last week as a group. And you've got big kind of national brands like BT on that group. You've got small tech companies. You've got all the clusters. And firstly, isn't it amazing how technology has underpinned our lives, getting through this, connecting, and supporting each other, whether that's as individuals, families, and people, and as organisations. And someone said, if the government spent £5 billion dueling the whole of the A303, or £50 billion, how much it would cost, or investing that money in digital infrastructure, digital skills, and making businesses truly digitally agile, what would have served us better in this time? Clearly the investment in tech and digital, because the roads, we didn't need the roads, we needed technology to enable us to keep communicating and keep our businesses going. So I think that's a really interesting point. Not just the tech sector, but all areas. So I think Tech Southwest, we're having those conversations, and we're looking at how we can engage with our MPs and others, as part of our lobbying work that we do around that, because the government are going to make key decisions, getting a bit political here, but about investment going forwards. We've got super fast railways or super fast broadband. What do you want? What is going to serve us better in the 21st century is a resilient economy that's agile and is digitally kind of adept. So I think that is a huge piece and a really important piece. And as an organisation, the communicating's been easy because we do events, but we're not super events heavy in terms of we do big regional events. And actually one of the challenges about big regional events is getting everyone together in the same place at the same time. So, we launched the Tech Southwest Awards 2 weeks ago with a live launch using a platform called Hopin, which is really cool. You can have a main stage area, you can have sessions, you can have networking where you're thrown in with someone for 4 minutes, you chat, you press a button, you connect, and then you're off to the next. It's really cool. It's really fun. We've got another one coming up in a couple of weeks. So. And actually, new organisations are joining us. Tech Swindon have just joined us. And, Tech Southwest as a group, we've never met face to face in terms of the steering group. We've been using Zoom for about 3 years. So because we're a big, long, sort of thin region, aren't we? The Southwest,
huge region.
So actually, the way we've communicated has been fine, and reaching out to members has been fine. That engagement. And I think testament to it in terms of the power of that community. I suppose the Tech Southwest Awards, and we were worried. Do we launch? Is this the right time to launch? 2020 awards, it feels a bit kind of weird when people have got other priorities right now. But we were getting people asking when are they going live, and we were getting sponsors. The ones we had sort of lined up, we had 12 lined up at the start of the year, which is fantastic. Saying, what's the plan? And actually, we asked and we spoke to people, and they do want to shine a light on amazing things that are happening in technology. There's companies in Cornwall that have pivoted to kind of work solely on government tracking around COVID-19. There's science parks that have given over all their kind of 3D printing facility and coordinating PPE kind of work. There's all sorts of things happening, and we, actually the awards are going to be pretty powerful to kind of like shine a light on some of that stuff. Because technology has underpinned our way of life these last 2 months. In terms of individuals, as organisations, as community groups. So that is what the awards are all about this year.
The fact that you continue to launch them, I think that's important because people do kind of want to feel that they want to hang on to something that they recognise that feels normal to them. Yeah. And that's just, it's testament into the fact that, exactly what you're doing and what you're trying to promote, it's kind of a testimonial in itself about,
and if you think about what we were saying earlier about, think about the messaging nuance, So it's not a big brush awards, and it's not a big brush awards ceremony probably in the same way. It's going to be different, but we've launched a hero category around, people's response to COVID-19 and so many amazing things happening. We're donating half the entry fees to the WHO COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund. That's what people want. You need to listen to people and change your offering accordingly. But it doesn't mean you have to stop. It's just understanding, having those conversations, and then adapting, and then going forward. Because we've got to go forwards. We've got to come out of this stronger than ever, more connected than ever. So where are the opportunities? and I always say opportunities lies often with collaboration and doing the right thing for the right people at the right time.
And it's often simpler than one thinks, isn't it? You immediately go, okay, I need to go out there and I need to conquer and I need to, make the next best big thing. And actually it's so simple if we just listen and speak to the people, to our network, and work together.
Yeah.
Quite amazing.
Absolutely.
What we can create.
Well, I remember week one, after Boris Johnson on the Monday had announced, right, everyone work from home, that whole kind of big shift that businesses then had to try and go through. We launched Project Positivity, and it's just a phrase that someone threw out at a team call, so we just launched it and didn't really know what it was going to be at that stage, but that evolved into, where can we help? Okay, we're not the ones to provide the health expertise, etc., but we can provide comms advice. So set up a comms resource online and do podcasts and other things to kind of make people aware of it, and just fun stuff in terms of home education, kind of fun games you can play. What books are we reading right now? Just different ways of connecting and showing how communication underpins so much of this. We kind of made it up as we went along a bit based on our experience, I suppose, but it just felt like it's a simple thing, but it's now snowballed and evolved into collaborations and being invited to join groups and talk at things, all sorts of stuff. So like I say, it's keeping it simple. Us marketeers, keeping it simple works.
Yes. And kind of, for me, kind of restraining, going, hang on, what have I got? What can I do? And who can I work with? Dan, I asked this question of everybody that I interview. So what lessons have you learned? Or what stories can you share about the current business lockdown in the way that it has encouraged you to change the way you think about how you work in future?
I think, the thing that's encouraged me in most societies about is how similar we all are in terms of our humanity and what our sort of desire and passion to stay connected and be connected and reach out, and we've seen that through conversations I've had with business leaders, sort of just off the cuff, sitting at home, them in their shorts and t-shirt, me in my shorts and t-shirt, having a big conversation about the future of the legal profession. What does this mean for that? Or so breaking down some of those barriers and connecting as real humans, and that's what we've always strived to do as a brand, as a company, but we've seen that more than ever, and for more types of businesses than ever. And I think that's really exciting because some of those barriers have broken down and we're connecting more across the business community and with our kind of customers and clients. So that I find lovely. It's been some lovely moments, and we've had people who've been invited to our team calls, people who are living at home on their own and have been quite down and struggling with elements of this, and just joining our team for a bit, just because it was a good thing to do, and just being on those team calls and then keeping in touch with them, and just because it was just was right, and things like that. If a brand can do that, if a small company like us can do that, you think the power of brands now and going forwards is going to be incredible, and I just really hope it doesn't, there's going to be some who are going to want to get back to normal, get back to what it was before, and it's in terms of numbers and email and spammy emails and and actually, is that the kind of marketing we really want, and is that the kind of marketing we really respond to? And there's others who will be thinking more deeply, hopefully, about how lives have been touched and how connections have been made. And if you can build that into your marketing in a strategic way for the right reasons, aligned to your purpose, that's the exciting bit in terms of what could emerge out of this. The world has changed. There is, sector by sector, travel, tourism, huge question marks. The role of the state going forwards, how we work, the future of the workplace, the gig economy, technology, e-commerce, all these things are up in the air. And it's scary, but it's also exciting. There will be innovation. There will be winners and losers in some senses. But just because one business is challenged and is, the people in that, what's most important, especially with this business communities, is there are going to be people with talent, and new things will emerge, new products, opportunities, new types of businesses. So that's my long rambling response to that, in terms of that mix of challenge and excitement going forward.
Amazing. I love it. It is exciting, I think, as you say, and we've all been forced to have to adapt and to kind of build some sort of hybrid model of the way we do things. But, we've kind of proved that we can do it. It can be done. And it is an exciting phase that we're going into now. So on that note, thank you so much for your time, Dan. I know that you're a very busy man and your team is very busy, and you've got some exciting things ahead as well. So thank you so much, and all the best to how you guys.
No, thank you, Katie. Lovely to chat, and look forward to seeing you again digitally or otherwise very soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for everyone who watched this video today, if you did like it, please share it and subscribe to the channel. I will put all of Dan's contact details for Astley Media in the description as well. So if you want to get in touch with them about anything that you've got planned, you just check out the description as well. But until the next video, take care of yourselves and we'll see you soon.